so hot.
This one makes me very nervous. Picking ultimately between the two of us 6 teams out of 32 that have no chance. Not just may not or possibly won't, but no chance. We are calling our shot.
Now we start getting in a little of the dicey area where it could be old takes exposed. Do one of these teams have a chance? And I'm really torn between Carolina and Cincinnati, and I think they both got a real small outside chance. But I'm going to go with Carolina.
In my mind, between the Panthers and the Bengals, it's a no-brainer because the Bengals are caught in a division with the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens. The Bengals are going to be in 4th place. The only way they're getting to the playoffs is if all 4 teams from the AFC North qualify.
Woo! So hot.
You know, I really didn't need to see that this morning, but that's how we felt a year ago. That's part of the fun of everybody being 0-0, and you play the season. Look, there were questions about Joe Burrow's knee. Jamar Chase couldn't catch last preseason. I mean, those were all real dynamics, and the Bengals immediately changed minds, and I jumped on. We don't need to see that, please. I jumped on. Charean went 3 for 3. I was at least one. Hey, I'm 2 for 3. That's not bad. That'll get you into the Hall of Fame in baseball. Let's try it again this year, Charean. Teams that have no... Why are we doing this again? Did we not learn last year? Teams that have no chance unless they do to get to the playoffs. Who do you have, round 1?
Oh, boy. Here we go. Old takes exposed for next year. I'm going to leave you the Texans, Mike, based on your power rankings. So I'm going to go with the Bears. I think they end up with the number 1 overall pick in 2023. I hate their roster, and I think they hate their roster based on their waiver claims. When you're claiming that many players as they did last week, you don't love your roster. You like other teams' cast-offs better than your own guys, and that's what we saw. So it's all going to be on Justin Fields. We're going to find out if he is their quarterback of the present and the future this year, and we'll see how that plays out. But I just don't think this is a team that's going to win very many games, unfortunately, for the fans of Chicago.
See, I'm nervous about picking any team from the NFC for this list because I feel like it's wide open for the wild card berths in the NFC because there isn't that cluster of great teams. In the AFC, I think there will be multiple teams that don't make it to the playoffs that could have won the Super Bowl. That's how good that conference is. So that's why I'll go Texans. You're going to leave the Texans on the board. I'm taking the Texans. How are they going to navigate that murderer's row of opponents in the AFC and find themselves slipping in? And really the only thing that benefits them is the division they're in because they could pick up a couple of wins against the Jaguars. Maybe they can pick off a win or 2 against the Titans. Maybe they get lucky week 1 against the Colts. I don't know. At least they don't have to play all those other teams twice like the teams in the AFC North and the AFC West do. Maybe they can win enough games to sneak it. No. They can't. They have no chance. The Texans have no chance. I'll own this one next year or sooner if they make it. I'm not going to try to qualify or equivocate. They have no chance.
Well, I'm going to stick with the NFC. And, Mike, you made me really, really nervous because my 3 picks are going to be from the NFC. So, this is going to be bad next year maybe for me. But I'm going to go with the Falcons because I think at some point they're going to need to play their rookie quarterback to see what they have in him because I just don't think this is a very good team. They haven't been the same team, Mike, since the second half of that Super Bowl in 2016. 2017 was the last time they had a winning record, last time they made the playoffs. And I just think it was a testament to how good Matt Ryan was, his ability that they won they won as many games as they did 3 of the last 4 years. And I don't think Marcus Mariota is as good as Matt Ryan. So I think they're going to take a step back from those 7 wins that they've had over the last few years and probably get more in that 4 or 5 range and really be looking to the future to rebuild this team.
I'm going to go with the New York Jets. Sorry, Jets fans. I know you, along with all the fans of the bad teams out there, have caused yourself to think that this year could be the year. But you look at the AFC East, you got the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots, all legitimate playoff contenders. Right out of the gates, The Jets play the 4 teams, one after another, of the AFC North. They eventually have the Packers and the Vikings on the schedule. I think it's going to be a tough year for the New York Jets. And the way their schedule is structured, all the tough games are early. They could be dead and done and gone by the time they get to the second half of the season, which is what I think they will be. Jets, no chance of making the playoffs. All right, here we go. Round 3 of the teams that have no chance at making the playoffs. Last year, as a refresher, Charean struggled between the Panthers and the Bengals. Took the Panthers, and I said, oh, why'd you take the Panthers? The Bengals are the no-brainer. They have no chance in hell, and they, of course, nearly won the Super Bowl. Thank God they didn't win the Super Bowl. That would be the only way to make it worse. Who do you have, Charean, third round of the teams that have no chance to make it to the playoffs?
Well, we're rolling the dice here. I'm going to use your theory from last year that there's got to be some team to finish last in the NFC West. So I'm going with the Seahawks. And I know we don't say the T word out loud, but that's what this team looks like to me, that they're tanking for that quarterback after this year. 7-10 last year. This will be the worst record of Pete Carroll's career with the Seahawks. I think they win fewer than 7 games. Whew.
Okay, now, I had been far more confident in the Seahawks until recently. Like, recently, reality has settled in with Geno Smith as the starter, and they didn't make a play for Jimmy Garoppolo. And even though I'm a big believer in Pete Carroll as a coach, if you don't have the players, it's harder to be a good coach. As Dick Vermeil said at his Hall of Fame induction speech last month, I became a much smarter coach once I got Marshall Faulk. All right, I want to say the Jaguars, but I think they could be pretty good, and they're in that 29 spot, and we know what 29 meant for the Bengals last year. So I am going to pivot to the Giants. Even though they're in a division that is fairly wide open, I just don't see it. I don't think they believe in Daniel Jones. They would have picked up the 5th-year option if they did. The offensive line still needs work. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is not going to contribute at all this year. I think they've got questions. They got issues. The stink over that franchise is too strong for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen to get rid of it in 1 year. So I'll go Giants. So congratulations, Giants fans. Your team is going to the Super Bowl.
Well, and I had the Giants. I'm going to be honest here. I had the Giants as my 4th team just in case you picked one of my teams, and I had to pivot some other way. So I did have them on the list, I'll admit. So if they make the playoffs, I'm right there with you.
So you came to the table with 4, which is always a little risky. I always come to the table with 6 just in case. Well, you only need 5 because you're getting the first pick anyway. But you went all NFC teams. That in and of itself is gutsy, because I think the NFC is wide open. Wide open. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.